Queens, let me start with this truth that will shake everything you thought you knew about love, attraction, and influence. The moment you understand that your feminine power is not something you need to earn. It is not something you borrow. It is not something anyone else grants, but something that exists inside of you. Quietly, waiting to be unleashed, you will watch the dynamics of every relationship around you transform overnight. I remember the first time I truly felt this energy pulse through me. It was at a cocktail party in Manhattan, the kind where the city lights glitter like molten gold against the glass of the skyscraper windows. And I wasn't trying to impress anyone. A man I barely knew stopped mid-laugh and stared. Not at my outfit, not at my hair, not at the red-soled shoes I wore, but at something far more magnetic. The way I carried myself, the subtle sway of my posture, the controlled rhythm of my voice, the way my eyes lingered just long enough to spark curiosity. Not desperation. That's when it hit me. Feminine power is invisible, yet undeniable. And the psychology behind it is exquisite. It's in the way you choose to respond rather than react. In the deliberate pauses that let someone's mind fill in the gaps of your mystery. In the art of saying nothing and still commanding their attention. Let me tell you, my queens, men do not chase what they fully understand, they chase what fascinates them. What unsettles their expectations just enough to draw them into your orbit. And that is where your power lies. I've used these subtle psychological triggers countless times. From the way I reveal just a hint of vulnerability to the carefully placed compliment that acknowledges his strength rather than his superficial traits. And every time, the result is the same. Heightened attention, devotion, and a desire that feels almost uncontrollable. Aristotle once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." And in this case, knowing your energy, its depth, its rhythm, its power is the foundation of every interaction you will ever have. Imagine walking into a room and the energy shifts not because you say anything outrageous, not because you demand it, but because your presence, your awareness of your own value, radiates with such quiet authority that people lean in, unconsciously, drawn to you like iron filings to a magnet. This is not about manipulation. It is mastery. It is about understanding human psychology and using your natural, unapologetic, unshakable feminine power to shape every dynamic in your favor. So lean in. Queens, subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications. And let's dive into the first psychological strategy that will transform your love life. The art of presence. Your presence is not measured by how much you speak, it's measured by the space you create. The pauses you hold, the magnetic tension you generate with every glance, every smile, every unspoken word. I once had a partner who prided himself on knowing everything about me before I had a chance to speak. But as soon as I mastered the art of presence, every conversation became a dance he couldn't control, a game he wanted to play, not knowing exactly what move I would make next. Presence is your power because it forces the other person to show up fully, to invest their attention, their curiosity, their energy into you. And here's the subtle trick. Combine presence with selective vulnerability, sharing just enough of yourself to spark intrigue, but never giving so much that the mystery disappears. And you will notice the shift. Immediately attention heightens, desire deepens, and your worth is understood without you ever needing to declare it. Now, let's talk about influence, the kind that doesn't scream, doesn't beg, doesn't bargain, but flows like a current beneath the surface of every relationship you touch. Influence is the mastery of psychological triggers. And queens, it's as much about what you don't do as what you do. The language of subtle recognition is one of the most powerful tools you have. Noticing the qualities most people overlook, commenting on the choices he makes, the way he handles situations, the strength in his mind rather than the superficiality of his looks. It activates something primal in his brain in alignment to your energy, a silent submission to the authority you carry without ever raising your voice. I remember a dinner party where I complimented a man on how decisively he handled a negotiation at work. And the effect was instantaneous. His posture shifted, his tone softened, his attention sharpened, all directed toward me, almost unconsciously. That's the genius of this psychological trick. It leverages pride, respect, and admiration, all carefully wrapped in feminine energy that says, I see you, but I am untouchable. And it's not limited to words. Your environment, your rituals, even the subtle rhythms of your gestures communicate dominance and allure. From the texture of satin against your skin, to the deliberate sway of your hair, to the scent that lingers subtly in the air, these are cues that activate desire without you ever having to demand it. Even your digital presence can be a masterclass in subtle power. The careful timing of a message, the controlled response to attention, the energy you convey in your tone and phrasing, all combine to make your absence felt as strongly as your presence. Nietzsche wrote, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties," and that is the essence of influence in a relationship. Those threads, the ones that connect attention, desire, curiosity, and admiration, when woven skillfully, create bonds that feel magnetic, irresistible, and entirely under your conscious command. And here's a practical hack you can implement today. Alternate presence and absence. Walk into a room as if it belongs to you. Move with intent. Let your attention be a prize. Then withdraw just enough that the other person notices, recalibrates, and chases. It is not gamesmanship, it is mastery of energy. A high-level psychological art that ensures every interaction amplifies your power rather than diminishes it. I've seen it in luxury settings, in private dinners, in quiet moments where influence is measured not by words, but by the depth of attention. The way eyes linger, the subtle shifts in tone, the instinctive need to impress, to seek validation from someone who doesn't give it lightly. And the final layer of this strategy, Queens, is the integration of internal alignment. Your mind, your body, your spirit, your values, when these are in harmony. When you honor your own worth, when you invest in your growth, your pleasure, your experiences, every interaction becomes effortless, magnetic, and powerful. Influence is not coercion, it is presence, mastery of perception, and intentional action that ensures you are never just a participant in a relationship, but the axis around which desire, attention, and energy naturally revolve. So comment below your biggest takeaway. Subscribe, and let the energy of influence settle into your being. Because once you understand how to blend presence, selective vulnerability, recognition, and internal alignment, the relationships around you will never feel the same again. Finally, let's unlock the ultimate truth about feminine power in relationships. It is not about control for the sake of control. It is about embodiment, the kind of power that radiates so effortlessly, so naturally, that it transforms every room you enter, every conversation you touch, and every connection you cultivate. This is the art of subtle dominance. Queens, the quiet confidence that says, I am sovereign, I am desirable, and I am untouchable. And yet I am willing to share space with those worthy of my attention. I remember one intimate encounter where I applied everything I had mastered: the presence, the selective vulnerability, the acknowledgement of his strengths, the deliberate pacing of my gestures, and the effect was breathtaking. He leaned in. He listened. He followed my energy. His desire palpable, not forced, not manufactured, but genuinely awakened by the gravity of my energy. That is the secret. Feminine power is not about seduction alone. It is about creating magnetic alignment, orchestrating the dance of attention and desire so that you are both untouchable and irresistible at the same time. Every action, every pause, every glance, every carefully crafted word is a psychological instrument, and when played with intention, it shapes the dynamics around you with precision and elegance. And Queens, here's the final hack, the one that binds all of this together. Invest in yourself relentlessly. The way you dress, the quality of your rituals, the refinement of your environment, the care you take in your mind, body, and soul, all of it amplifies your energy exponentially. From the golden accents in your living space, to the satin against your skin, to the cadence of your voice, These are not superficial details, they are extensions of your power. Signals that convey sophistication, dominance, and magnetic allure without a single word spoken. Remember, authentic power is magnetic. It doesn't demand it. It earns it effortlessly, and it leaves a trace long after you've left a room. So step into it unapologetically. Queens, embrace your presence, your influence, your embodiment, and watch as relationships, attention, and desire align with you naturally, almost as if the universe itself is conspiring in your favor. Comment below "I needed this" if you feel it. Subscribe to claim this energy every day. And remember that mastery is a practice, a deliberate art, and every interaction you have is an opportunity to refine, expand, and command the feminine power that has always been yours. You are not just attractive, you are magnetic. You are not just desirable, you are sovereign. And when you fully inhabit this energy, you do not simply attract love, you awaken a force inside yourself that transforms every dynamic, every connection, and every moment of your life. Rule like the queen you are. Queens, because your feminine power is not a gift. It is a right hand, it is unstoppable.